Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for both prelims and mains examination perspective will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 11th of August. The first news that is Center releases fund as a tax devolutions to the state. Second, India Australia to sign film treaty. Third, RBI tighten rules on digital lending. Fourth, Corbevax get node as a precaution dose. And the last is an editorial that is a new global vision for 2020. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before that, if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful for your examination, do not forget to press a like button. So starting with the first news of the day, that is Center relaxes fund as a tax devolutions to the states. This is relevant for General Studies paper 2. That is functions and responsibility of union and states and issues and challenging pertaining to the federal structure. Although this is again important for General Studies paper 3, where Indian economy and issues related to it are concerned. So recently the central government has released two installment. Central government ने Ministry of Finance ने 2 installment release की है of the tax devolutions to the state. The amount is 1,16,665.75 crore rupees, right? Against the normalcy जो monthly devolutions होनी थी 58,332.86 crore की, उसके against this is the number which government has released. Although these numbers are not important, but आपको एक basic trend, एक figures amount approximately पता होनी चाहिए. The Ministry of Finance has noted that the Government of India is committed to strengthen the state performances and to escalate their capital and development expenditure. This is what the ministry has categorically noted. And it is estimated that a total of 3.18 lakh crore rupees has been devolved to the state in the past 5 months, basically it's सालों में, and this is about 39% of the बजट एस्टिमेट. तो ये कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है फैक्चुअली आपके प्रीलिम्स और मेंस दोनों के लिए जो आप ध्यान रखें. नाउ व्हाट इज टैक्स डिवोल्यूशंस, किस तरह से ये काम करती है, इसके कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजंस क्या क्या है. सो टैक्स डिवोल्यूशन इज वन ऑफ द कोर टास्क ऑफ द 15th फाइनेंस कमीशंस, राइट. सो विच इज कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड अंडर आर्टिकल 280 ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. और ये जो कमीशन है दैट मेक रिकमेंडेशंस रिगार्डिंग द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस of the net proceeds of the taxes between the union and the states, right. तो ये मैंडेट की जाती है फिनेंस कमीशन के द्वारा. फिनेंस कमीशन गिव द रिकमेंडेशंस कि कितनी जो है वो टैक्स डिवोल्यूशंस होनी चाहिए. नाउ इन नवंबर 2017 द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया हैज अपॉइंटेड NK Singh as the chairperson of the 15th Finance Commission, and the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission from the year 2021 through 2025-2026 will be applicable. Now some of the concern that was raised by the state government, although जब GST को implement किया गया था, when GST was implemented in 2017, it was promised by the central government that government will give compensation to the states for 5 years, right. वो 5 years अब expire हो गई है, जिसके बाद central government ने कहा है कि जो GST की खास करके जो सेस है उसके जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस है वो अब बंद कर दिए जाएंगे, स्टेट्स को नहीं दिए जाएंगे. Now these all have again raised concern and the states are demanding कि the center should still continue to give them some cess devolutions. So the center decision to release the fund as a tax devolutions to the states and development assume a significance, and some chief minister has raised concern about the dwindling resources that was sought fund from the center to extend the GST compensation. This is precisely what I'm talking is about the GST compensation in a nutshell. तो जितनी भी बातें हो रही है, जिस devolutions की बातें हो रही है, वो अभी GST compensation को लेकर के है. And precisely talking about the cess, this is what the central government keep it with themselves. चाहे वो पेट्रोलियम सेस हो और किसी दूसरी तरह के सेस हो, central government ने इसको अपने साथ ही withhold करने की बातें कही. So this is something which should be there. This was demanded, and even this statement was vocal during the meeting of the नीति आयोग गवर्निंग काउंसिल. अभी जो रिसेंट गवर्निंग काउंसिल की मीटिंग हुई है नीति आयोग की, उसमें भी सारे स्टेट्स के जो चीफ मिनिस्टर्स हैं उन्होंने ये बातें रखी कि दिस डिवोल्यूशन, द टैक्स डिवोल्यूशन ऑफ द जीएसटी कंपनसेशन शुड कंटिन्यू, बट स्टिल गवर्नमेंट हैज नॉट गिवन एनी कंप्लीट और क्लियर कट रिमार्क ऑन दैट. Now, state shares की अगर बात करें, उत्तर प्रदेश has got the highest number of share in the amount that was released by the central government recently, followed by Bihar. और ये कुछ और states हैं जिनको basically जो devolutions में share दी गई है. This number is not important for your examination. Examination point of view से ये आपके लिए ज़रूरी नहीं है. If you are appearing for State Public Service Commission examination, जिस भी स्टेट से अपेयर कर रहे हैं उनके नंबर्स और रैंकिंग यहाँ पे चेक कर सकते हैं. फॉर यूपीएससी एग्जामिनेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू दे विल नेवर आस्क यू एनी फिगर, राइट. बट हाँ, आपको एक ट्रेंड पता होना चाहिए कि किस स्टेट्स में ऊपर और नीचे की जो क्रोनोलॉजी है, यू मस्ट नो दैट. नाउ दिस इज व्हाट वी हैव डिस्कस्ड. जो भी मैंने आपको बातें बताई आप ये ग्राफिकल फॉर्मेट में यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं, और इधर यू कैन टेक अ स्क्रीनशॉट. इफ यू रीडिंग न्यूज़पेपर यू मस्ट हैव गॉट दिस इमेज. Now, India, Australia to sign film treaty, again relevant for General Studies paper 2, that is bilateral, regional and grouping an agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So recently the Union Cabinet has approved signing a pact with Australian government that India and Australia would allow the private quasi-government or government agencies to enter into contract to produce film together, right? So far as India has signed 15 audiovisual cooperation treaties with the foreign countries. Now looking into the advantages of the audiovisual co-production treaty which was signed between India and Australia, उसके क्या advantages होंगे? The audiovisual cooperation treaty between India and Australia will boost ties between the countries और कुछ important चीज़ों के लिए ये मदद करेगी. This will boost in the exchange of art and culture, generations of employment and artists, technical as well as non-technical personal engagement with audiovisual productions, including the productions and post-production work, showcase India as a soft power. Now, as per the co-production treaty, the respective contributions of the producers of the two countries may vary from 20% to 80%, right? तो ये कुछ variations हैं, a percentage of the final cost and the co-product work. Now, Australia is considered to be a preferred destination. Now, Australia has emerged as a preferred destination for shooting Indian films, while India is a fast emerging as a major content hub for filmmaking looking for a new project, right? तो जितनी important Australia है उतनी ही important India भी. Now, India has an abundance exotic locations, talent pool, relatively कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शंस जो है यहाँ पे काफ़ी सस्ती पड़ती है दूसरे कंट्रीज़ के मुकाबले. पोस्ट प्रोडक्शंस मेकिंग इट फेवरेट डेस्टिनेशन फॉर द फॉरेन फिल्म मेकर्स. तो आपने कई हॉलीवुड मूवीज़ के शूटिंग्स इंडिया में ज़रूर होते हुए देखे होंगे, कुछ क्लिप्स होते ही हैं. नाउ RBI tightens rules on digital lending, something important for General Studies paper 3, and this is important for Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So the Reserve Bank of India, that is the RBI, what RBI has said, RBI has recently tightened the norms of the digital lending to prevent the charging of exorbitant interest rate, जो बहुत ज़्यादा अभी interest rate है, उसको कैसे कम किया जाए, and certain entities and also check the unethical loan recovery practice. So what is happening? Basically before this regulation, कोई भी डिफॉल्टर अगर लोन डिफॉल्टर्स है तो उसको थर्ड पार्टी से कलेक्शंस के लिए भेजे जाते थे, एंड दे पीपल एक्चुअली नॉट ट्रीट देम वेल. दे इवन यूज फोर्स एंड अदर बेसिकली मेजर्स विच हेल्प देम टू गेट द मनी. तो वो किसी भी तरह से थर्ड डिग्री का भी इस्तेमाल किया करते थे, इन विच RBI हैज टेकन कम अप विद द टाइटनिंग द रूल्स वेयर दीज विल नॉट बी अलाउड फर्दर. नाउ RBI हैज कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड अ वर्किंग ग्रुप on a digital lending including the online platform on the mobile applications, right, from January 13 to 2020. Now the digital lending in India is alone projected to reach closely like 350 billions by 2023. Now new norms में क्या क्या important बातों को RBI ने include किया है. Under the new norms, all loans and dispersal and the repayments are required to be executed only between the banks. तो यहाँ पे mandatory provisions हैं कि जो between the bank account and the borrower, right? So no intermediaries would be allowed, and these entity can be NBFC, non-banking financial companies allowed होंगे without any pass-through or pool account of the lending service provider, that is LSPs. Now, the RBI mentioned about the concern primarily related to some of the things that was concerned even by the RBI. That is, first, the unbridled engagement of the third party, which will not be there anymore. Mis-selling and breach of the data privacy of an individual, because कई ऐसे collections करने वाले जो important centers या third party जो होते थे वो mobile phones के numbers, email third party को share किया करते थे. Now, unfair means or business conduct, charging of exorbitant interest rate. Exorbitant means very high interest rate. Unethical recovery practices. And RBI has further said that in strategizing the key fact statement, जिसको KFS भी बोलेंगे, must be provided to the borrower before executing a loan contract. So these are some of the mandatory provisions which RBI has come up with, and the new norm will definitely improve the overall functioning of the loan disputment, the loan dispersal, and the payment option, repayment option basically. Now further, the RBI noted जो regulatory framework होगी, this will support the orderly growth and credit delivery through the digital lending method while mitigating the regulatory concern that has been formed. And this regulatory framework is based on the principle that lending business can be carried out by the entities on either regulated of the Reserve Bank of India or permitted to do so under any law. So this is how the things will work. And the Reserve Bank of India regulatory framework is focused on the digital lending ecosystem, that is RBI regulated entities and LSP engaged by them, and extended various permissible credit facility services. Now there's something called digital lending apps, which is also known as DLA. तो ये DLA कैसे effective होगी? DLA refers to a mobile and web-based applications that user interface that facilitate the borrowing by a borrower from a lender. So C apps के through government ने RBI ने basically, this was an initiative by RBI where it will be promoted between the lenders and the borrowers. Now DLA apps include the RE as well as the operation of LSP, right, which will engage in the RE extension for any credit facilitation and services. Now RBI further said that जो data collect होंगी by the DLA, that is the digital lending app, should be need based and can have an audit and trial facilities also only with the prior and explicit consent of the borrower. So यहाँ पे borrower की consent mandate होगी अगर उसे किसी भी तरह से audit करवानी. Now the other news, that is Corbevax get nod as a precautionary dose. This is again a milestone that India has achieved in terms of the precautionary dose. Earlier only 2 or 3 vaccines were available. So something relevant for General Studies paper 2, that is issues related to development and management of health. So the Union government has recently approved a vaccine which is known as Corbevax, and the manufacturer is Biological E. This will be a precautionary dose which can be used either with the combination of Covishield or Covaxin person who is above 18 year of age. तो ऐसे इंडिविजुअल जो 18 प्लस होंगे और जिन्होंने कोविशील्ड या कोवैक्सीन दोनों वैक्सीन ली हुई हैं वो अब बायोलॉजिकल ई की कॉर्बेवैक्स वैक्सीन को थर्ड डोज एज अ प्रिकॉशनरी डोज ले सकते हैं. इट इज़ नॉट मैंडेटरी कि उनको कोविशील्ड वालों को कोविशील्ड ही लेनी है और खास करके कोवैक्सीन वालों को कोवैक्सीन लेनी. नाउ दे कैन कम अप विद कोर्बेवैक्स ऑल्सो. So the authorization, the COVID-19 vaccine, however, has been waiting for emergency use authorization by the WHO. तो WHO की तरफ से अभी तक अप्रूवल नहीं मिली है, बट इंडिया के जो एक्सपर्ट हैं, ड्रग्स कंट्रोलर जनरल्स एंड इवन द रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी, दे हैव गिवन द ग्रीन सिग्नल. Now EUL is based on the risk-based procedures for assessing the listing of the unlisted vaccine, therapeutic and vitro diagnostics, which ultimately aim to expanding the availability of the products for people affected for the public health emergency. Now जो latest approval दी गई है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की तरफ से, this is for the first time that the booster dose is from the different entity or from the different company, and this will be allowed. Now in with this, the addition to the existing guideline, homologous precautionary dose of the Covaxin and Covishield can be taken together. It is not mandatory that the vaccine which you have taken earlier in the last 2 doses, you necessarily need to take that only. You can also come up with the Corbevax. Now, the approval is based on the recommendations made by the COVID-19 working group on the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunizations. तो एक्सपर्ट कमेटी की ऑलरेडी ग्रीन सिग्नल मिली है जिसके बाद ये अप्रूवल दी गई. Now, in addition, subject to the expert committee, the recommendations getting emergency authorization used for the Corbevax for the children aged 5 to 11 and certain conditions will be also given, right? So, in due course of time, this approval will also be given by the government of India. But for time being, those individuals who are 18 plus and are vaccinated with 2 doses can come up with a third dose with the Corbevax, right? Now, moving to the editorial of the day, a new global mission for G20, something relevant for General Studies Paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India's and affecting India's interest. So, I'll be simplifying this editorial under three important subheads, which include upcoming G20 meeting, collaborations, not commitments, and the common concern. So, I'll be elaborating all these 2 points in 5 to 7 points. Now, what are the theme of basically this editorial? So this talks about the global vision of G20. So India is set to hold the G20 presidency from 1st of December 2022 till November 2023. Right? And this is a moment of pride for India, which will be definitely looking forward with all important issues which is concerning the global arenas. Now, the G20 play an important role in shaping and strengthening the global architecture, governance of all major international and economic issues. It recognizes the global prosperity in interdependent and economic opportunities and challenges that are interlinked. Now, the challenges is to craft the new approaches to overcome the acute global discord. Now, जो अपकमिंग G20 मीटिंग होनी है, यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने काफ़ी ज़्यादा प्रिपरेशन की हुई है एंड हाउ दिस मीटिंग विल बी डन. सो द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स हैज सेड अ टोटल ऑफ 190 मीटिंग इज शेड्यूल्ड, राइट? And it will strengthen the area. Some of the important areas include energy, agriculture, trade, digital economy, health, environment, employment, tourism, anti-corruption, women empowerment, and focus is also given to the most vulnerable and disadvantages. तो ये कुछ broad areas हैं upon which the entire discussion will move ahead. Now, collaborations not commitment की बात की गई है. So first is like जो multilateral commitment है on the aid of trade are flattering. किस तरह से? Because governance in the world is that steadily becoming more equal needs of institutional innovations. यहाँ पे ज़रूरत है कि this is why this is because that the United States and the World Trade Organization is securing the cooperations between the donor and recipient countries in losing their centrality. Right? तो जो centrality है हर एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस की, हर एक मल्टीलेटरल फोरम की, उसे एविडेंट होने की ज़रूरत है एंड दे नीड टू बी वोकल ऑन दैट पार्ट. ऐसा नहीं हो कि किसी एक दो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस की डोमिनेशन चले. Now there's now the three socio-economic system. The first is G7 important countries. उसके बाद है RIC that stand for Russia, India and China. And other is like they have been jointly working on the global agenda. So these three forum is working on a global agenda. Now, the second is to primarily see the role of the G20 because G20 has become a most important player in terms of basically its contributions. या बात करें जो G20 की ओवरऑल अगर contributions हो वर्ल्ड की पेटेंट्स में 95%, 85% of the global GDP, 75% of international trade, and 65% of the world population is comprised of G20 countries. So there's a need for the reorientations to prevent the clash of ideas and detriment in the global good, right? And the solution in this is a new conceptual model where it called for looking for an agreement on agenda of limited principle rather than long negotiated anecdote text. It is very important that a mutual interest for all the countries should be there, and these contract or agreements should be benefiting a mass countries. और भी जो members countries ना हो उनके लिए भी इसके advantages जरूर हो. Now, some common concern that has been raised by the expert and many important stakeholders. So, India seeks to collaborate with the limited focus area like science and technology, building a common resolutions of the United Nations General Assemblies and other multilateral bodies. The starting point should be the global consensus in the Vienna Declaration of Human Rights because it was seen that not only India, for many other countries, human rights violation is a great concern. Now, ensuring the food, housing, educations, health, water, sanitations, and even the international cooperation from the important multilateral body is again very important. An exchange of experience on the societal benefits such as complementary goal that lead to the fresh thinking and employment and environment. तो ये सारे ऐसे कंसर्न्स हैं जो रेस किए गए हैं जहाँ पे सारी चीज़ों को रिवैम्प करने की जरूरत है एंड इवन फॉर बेटर देयर इज अ नीड फॉर अ better coordinations among the organization and countries, the member countries specifically. Now, harnessing the potential of the digital information technology requires a digital access of universal services which go beyond the physical connectivity and sharing. Space is the next finding solutions of the problem, even for resource management, climate change related issues, and agri innovations and urban infrastructure planning, right? And a global financial tax considered by the G20 2011 need to be revived with the Green Technology Fund जिसको GTF भी कहेंगे GTF राइट एटलीस्ट विद द डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज तो कम से कम जो डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज हैं वो अपनी कंट्रीब्यूशन करें इसके अलावा कुछ और इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज की अगर बात करें सो यूक्रेन इशू वाज द इशू दैट वाज अगेन कंसर्निंग सो यूक्रेन के जो इश्यूज हैं दैट विल ऑल्सो बी देयर ऑन द एजेंडा राइट Now, moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is A. For second question, the correct option is B. Today's MCQ for practice, आपको बताना है NEUs के बारे में. These are the entities that are owned and controlled by the can be only by the Indian citizen with at least 3 years of experience and segment can have a promoter of NEUs. No foreign investment in allows in the NU is an existing guideline. I think most of you must be aware of the answer because this was there in the current affairs. Second is the electoral bond. The basic questions. All nationalized Indian are authorized to issue the in-cash bond that is valid for 15 days from the date of issuance. And these bonds are remittable at the designated bank account of the registered political parties. So do check it out for the correct option. This type of question will again be relevant for your upcoming prelims examination. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.